Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of October 12th through the 18th. And during that time, we have a few different moon phases. We have the waning gibbous, the last quarter that comes in on the 15th, and then we move into the waning crescent. We do moon into all of this. Anyway, this is a time of surrender, kind of self-reflection during that waning gibbous time. But definitely that last quarter moon is about not only just reflecting, but also releasing what no longer serves us. So we want to take a minute to look around. What were you up to this month? In all areas of your life, and what was working and what didn't work, and let's make those little fine-tuning adjustments as we get ready for the next cycle on the new moon. So then we moved into the waning crescent, which is really that final rest, surrender, heal, and just kind of get your energy rested up for the next cycle that comes up with the new moon. So do keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is a new romantic cycle begins. All right, Aries, let's see what you guys have going on in the Aries collective. My fun reminder this week is that you take time to meditate today. So it's a really good time with the moon energy to, try to work meditation into your schedule if it's not something that you already do. But, while you're doing all of that self-reflecting, as that moon energy kind of comes off that full moon and starts to wane, it's a good time to maybe work meditation in again as you're releasing things and kind of doing that self-reflecting. So just my friendly reminder. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied today, please excuse me, but my fun friendly reminder. My mouth will get working, I promise. All right, let's get into this reading. Aries, October 12th through the 18th, a new romantic cycle begins. Your present energy, King of Pentacles. So maybe this new romantic cycle begins because you feel like you are just on top of things, knowledgeable, in control of your material world around you. So not only your work life, but your home life. The bank account is doing well, the investments are going well. You just feel like you've just got it going on, you've got it together, and that's a great feeling to have. Kind of feeling in control of that. And of course, anytime we master something or feel like something is under control for the moment, because these things do come and go, but anytime that we feel like, oh, that's under control, it's almost time to you shift that energy over into, okay, well, I've got that under control. Let's look around, right? So we take that look around. What do I need to be working on? And maybe it is your romantic life, and you start to just put time and energy and thought into that. This could be, if you're single, you're looking to how to meet someone. If you're in an early relationship, you're wondering how to nurture that and move it forward and move it along. If you've been in a relationship for a while, you're also kind of doing that assessment. Are we good? Or, is there anything I need to work on? Can I contribute more? The same thing if you've been in a relationship for a really long time. So it's just about, letting that romantic cycle kind of kick in the whatever stage that you happen to be in right now. Your current situation is that, yeah, you're moving towards the future. And look, you've got these full cups. So, for many of you, this, again, if the kind of tarot is a template, so it's of course going to fit over where you are. If you're single, you're feeling like you have good support behind you with all of these cups. You've got friends and family that support whatever you want to do in your future. You feel like, people literally have your back. And the same, if you're in a relationship, you feel like maybe your romantic partner has your back, and it's okay to stretch out and do that fun romantic thing, right? You know that they're going to be receiving of those things that you might be thinking of in the future. What is at the root of this issue is the Six of Swords. So yeah, again, this is sword energy and moving towards the future in very calm water, very relaxed manner. But this is you just kind of moving things forward. Like, maybe you just think of an idea. You're gonna leave romantic notes for your partner. You're going to cook them a meal that's their favorite meal. You're going to plan a date that's special for the both of you, something that they like. So this is thinking kind of just having those ideas and maybe jotting them down. You might not want to do all of them right now, but while that energy is there and while you're kind of thinking of that new romantic cycle, that's the time to really write things down and think, here's some things I need to do in the future that would be awesome for my romantic relationship. What is just behind you is that maybe you've been feeling a little bit like an outsider. And of course, this is a card of pentacles. So this could be in the material and financial realm, but it looks like you've remedied that with this king. So, but it also could be on the romantic front when if that's where you look around that you feel like, again, everything's together, but this thing, maybe if you've been married for a while, you're like, our life is great, our material world's great, the house is great, kids are great, we've got the things we need, we've got money, but we haven't really looked each other in the eye in a while. So how can we do that? What is the way to, is it a getaway? Is it just maybe sending the kids to, grandma's house for the weekend? Something just so that you can reconnect and get that time together. So you might have had some time recently where you've kind of felt like an outsider or felt like there was something missing there in that part of your life. What is on your mind this week is the Page of Wands. So there we go with some new passion, a new path in passion. And maybe this is just you going about it in a new way. Things are there and things don't have to be horrible, of course, but everything can always use improvement. So this is just maybe stepping out of the box a little bit and nurturing. You want to grow a new leaf, you want to nurture one of these stems that's coming off here so that it grows and blossoms into something beautiful. But this is definitely, new in the realm of passion, and which goes right hand in hand with romance. So I'm not shocked to see that card there. What is just ahead of you this week is the Ace of Swords. So some big aha moment, some mental breakthrough. Again, we were thinking about it down here with all of these swords. So you may have a breakthrough, and this could come through, maybe you do spend time with your partner and you learn something new about them that you didn't know. You learn that they like a particular kind of chocolate, something, something that you just didn't know about them before. Or something comes to mind, you maybe learn something new that they're into. It could be that they've read a book and it's encouraged them to think and want to speak about different new things, but there's some kind of aha moment that is maybe like a connector moment for you, this, which is great. Some connector of where you kind of learn something new. There's some kind of breakthrough that happens there that I know it's true with me and my husband. We have, of course, different separate interests, and sometimes they intersect, sometimes they don't. So sometimes I get to listen to things that he's interested in that I'm really not all that interested in. So I will entertain some of that. He can get a little detailed sometimes, but I do like to know, like, what is he into? What is he interested in at the moment? And what is really fun is when something, even though we have our separate interests, we have separate reading things, but occasionally we have a book that we want to read together and discuss, which is a lot of fun, something that's kind of on both of our wavelengths. So you might discover something like that with your partner, that there's something that you have in common, or that you learn something new about them that you didn't even know, even though you've been together for a long time. It's just like, oh, I didn't know that. There's always discovery. There's always something new to learn. In your advice position here is is to quell the dissatisfaction. So if this outsider over here, with this feeling here, and if you're feeling a little bit it's to change that. What is the universe offering you that you're not very excited about? And maybe again, you need to have this breakthrough so that you can just get that excitement and get that fun back into it again. What is beyond your control this week is the Hermit card. So you're definitely going to be doing some inner searching and trying to find that inner wisdom. When it comes to all of this may be where that breakthrough comes from. It may just be something that you're kind of lost in thought, on your own, and you do come up with an idea or some breakthrough or some thought that you had that triggers something, but it's something that you already know. There's a lot of times where that wisdom is already in there. You just kind of stop and let the world go for a little bit, get inside thinking. It's what I was telling you, to maybe take some time to meditate. so that these thoughts can, so you can quiet your mind and these thoughts can come up sometimes, so get in there, be quiet for a little bit and see what sort of wisdom comes up for you to illuminate this problem a little bit, or not even a problem, just illuminate how you can move forward in this cycle. For some of you, it may be there may be problems there, but hopefully not. And but you have to work on fixing it if that is. And if things are great, but you just want to make them better, there you go. Same reason to use that hermit energy also. What is your secret desire or what you're trying to avoid? Is the Fool, which hopefully that is your secret desire, is to take off on a new journey. Again, a new romantic cycle begins, and here's the Fool saying, okay, look, I've done it this way in the past. Moving forward, I want to, take away that thing that wasn't working, but we're going to add this. Again, that's the moon energy that we're in right now, is what do we want to let go of and not do anymore? Plus, what do we want to adopt and move, to try to move our life in a forward in a better way. So you're just doing this now and kind of focused on on your romantic interests right now. In your outcome position is the Strength card. So you've got this inner strength, and this is kind of like, you can do this. You can do this. You are strong enough to, maybe you feel a little bit timid about planning a date. You can do it. You can do that. Maybe you're timid about surprising your partner with something that you think they like, but you're not completely sure. What's it going to hurt? Try it, right? So have that inner strength, and that's your outcome. And I love how, I love to look at the color of tarot, and I love when it's bright at the end like this. That we've got these yellow. We had it at the beginning too. You've got things. These are good things that are going on. Anytime I see, that yellow color. Um, it's just brighter than anything else. So I love when that's kind of towards the end of your reading. What is hidden from you this week is the Ace of Pentacles. So no new financial opportunities, and that's great because you're sitting in that King of Pentacle energy. All of that stuff is under control. Let it go for a little bit. If it's something that you tend to focus on, if you tend to focus on work a lot, I mean, the cards are really saying take some time for your romantic relationship. Work's fine. It's going along, it's plodding along, it's great. You've got it under control. It's time to take that focus and move it to a different part of your life and just kind of work on those things a little bit. So, all right, Aries, let's draw a card here from the Soul Oracle deck for some final words here. Final words for Aries on this new romantic cycle. Rejuvenate. How perfect is that? Yeah, rejuvenate, especially if you're in a relationship that's been around for a while. Things can get a little bit stale, and it's always good to just inject something new, something fun, something that gets you, laughing, doing something different with each other. I know something that just put yourself in positions that you just don't normally do. And by this, I know my husband and I took a trip where we did really learn a lot about each other. We went on this wild caving trip, and this is a few years ago. We went on this wild caving trip, and there was a point at which I was so afraid because it was just this cavernous blackness below me, and we were walking on this very thin wall, and I had to, kind of move side to side, and everything was wet and slippery. And I froze. I got so afraid, and he totally talked me through it. But I remember the look on his face was that I don't think he'd ever really seen me scared before. I'm a very strong person and a very strong personality. I don't think he'd ever seen me just so completely scared before like that. Just literally like, I think I'm going to die. And he talked me through it. And he was like, look, you can do this. And just totally inch by inch until he literally talked me off the ledge. So, and that was fun. That was that made him feel great that he could do that for me. It made me feel great that he did it for me, that he was there, really, really there for me when it mattered. So, sometimes doing an activity that you don't normally do can help you learn something about your partner. So, all right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care, Aries. Self-care for Aries this week. What do you need to do is to speak up. If you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. So you need to speak up, you need to rejuvenate, and you may need to say, hey, I'm trying to do some fun things, and speak up and ask your partner, what is it that they want to do? They may have some of the same ideas. And so you need to speak up, express yourself, but also get your partner involved in that conversation just for some really good exchange, some give and take, so that you guys can move, so that you look back next month and you go, wow, look at the things that we added and did this month that just made us both a lot happier this month. So that would be very, very awesome. So Aries, thank you so much for coming here to, to see your reading for the week. I really appreciate your time with me. I do readings every week, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. Also, if you like my reading style, I would really appreciate if you like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps push me out in the algorithm, and I really appreciate that. But more importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So thanks so much for being here, and good luck with this. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.